Welcome back to another week episode. Well, this week we're doing another different video. I have a friend of mine who's been together for over 20 years in the military, and he lives in Sderot. Now, we talk about Sderot all the time, and in our TGR news networks. Sderot is the city that's right close to Gaza, and every time the Gaza acts up and starts sending rockets over, this city gets it the worst. Now you can see where I'm sitting. I'm sitting here. It's sort of like a joke, but here on a swing. And the reason is that this is one of the best playgrounds, public playgrounds I've seen in the country, and there's a reason for it. And that's why we're here. We're going to interview my friend and see what it's like to raise children in this situation and living in a place where rockets are just a common thing coming overhead and just blowing up in the air, and it's got to be something different, a way of life for kids to live like this. So let's get into this video. Okay, well, welcome back to another week. Right now, you'll see I'm sitting in the house. This is Nir. Me and Nir have been together for over 20 years. I think it's been 22, 23 years. Yeah. We did boot camp and then advanced combat training together. Advanced.
And then Badachad also.
And then Badachad, officer school. Yeah, absolutely. So we've known each other for a long time. And Nir
and reserves,
and we've been together. He's a great guy, by the way. And if you're ever in Sderot and you want to eat sushi, eat at his place. just to
let you know.
Yeah,
if you're ever gonna be.
It's really good. Well, Nir lives in kibbutz near Sderot, where we always hear on the news when the rockets start flying. Where the rockets never stop flying, actually. Yes. But when there's more in the news, when they really start sending lots of barrages of rockets, and barrages,
matachim, okay.
And I have to, every once in a while I have to do this in Hebrew.
Sorry about
it. I think it's great. Anyway, so we came just to ask him a few questions that I think you guys might want to know, and anything you have to say in general would be very, very wonderful for you to open up. Well, by the way, before we even get started, thank you.
Very happy to do that.
Thank you for opening up.
I think it's very important that people we know how it's to live here.
Absolutely.
We are. I'm happy to say that we are very normal people that choose to live here. It's difficult choices that we are making every day. Especially when you grow up your children here, but we are very normal, and I think it's a great project that you can visit us via video.
Absolutely, so you can see it. Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it.
Yep.
I wrote myself some notes here that I thought you guys might be interested in knowing the answers to. How is it running a business, like we said, you have a sushi business,
yes,
in a situation where you have rockets coming in, sometimes the whole city has to close down?
Well, it's it's a huge problem. It's Madger, help me with the word. We've been running the business above 10 years, almost 11 years, me and my wife. She used to run the business with me until the last year, and now she's having her own business, home design.
Oh, really? Home designer? That's wonderful.
Yes.
Your wife. What's her name?
Extremely
What's
talent.
Her name?
Gal Sela. This is the mutag, Gal Sela. The name is Gal Shochet. The brand is Gal Sela, home design. And in the very, very beginning...
Excuse me, but this is a beautiful home, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You could tell she did.
I will tell her. Also the restaurant, and I hope you're going to have some shoots over there.
Yeah, we will.
In the very beginning that we choose to open the business, it was because I wanted to stay here. I came here for school, for art video school, and from the very beginning, from the first year, I understand that it's not like me fire, and I'm not gonna do this kind of a business. it's not for me, but I like the area. I fall in love in the people in the area, and I wanted to stay. So I want to have income.
Right.
And I love to make food. I love to.
You always have.
Yeah, you know.
In the army.
In the army, yes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of natural for me to open a restaurant, and I felt at the time that it is safe to open a restaurant because the country, Israel, the state, is with me, and in the case that I will lost or get hurt from terrorism actions, I will get compensation. And I understood it's not like that all the time. And I even had the privilege to lead a protest about it. And it's a protest that we've won it 1.5 years ago. Before that, we couldn't have no compensation about
Terrorist.
1 day of terrorist or 2 days of terrorist.
Oh, great! So that means
5 days of terrorist.
So that means running a
only
business now.
In a case of war, we can get some kind of.
Okay, so that means running a business now. If the right now, let's say we're sitting at your restaurant and we're eating, and there was rockets flying and alarms went off, you would get compensation for that now.
Not exactly. No.
No.
I will not get nothing about it, and it's a great point, by the way. Only if it will be declared of a day of war. This is the realistic of our life. We are living a normal day, but yeah, maybe. But sometimes we have a war of day. It's not a war. It's a war day.
Yeah, it's a day.
And maybe the folks can understand what the meaning of run a business of a restaurant. You put all the people in the morning, you get all the merchandise,
the food. And we're talking also about a sushi restaurant.
Suddenly,
you can't just stick it in the refrigerator for 3 days.
No, you cannot. Fresh fish every day. Come to the restaurant, and red alert alarm sound, and people will not come to the restaurant.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And you're gonna throw all of the merchandise to the garbage, and you will not get no compensation about it.
I got another question for you. Being here for so long, you probably would know the answer to this question. What, if any, do you think does living here under this type of situation cause people's political decisions to be? Do you think they're more right wing, more left wing, more open, more what?
It's a great question, and you'll be more than surprised to hear that it will make no difference. We are extremely divided in our political ideals, and I think this is one of the main reasons that saved the status quo here in our part of the Israeli part. Why? Because when we want the Toshavim, the civilians, want to protest.
When the civilians want to protest.
Against the state, we are so divided, so we cannot go together.
Wow.
We cannot go together. When I made a protest about the restaurants, I went with all of the restaurant, and it's not a difference between the right wing to the left wing. But when we are talking about the solution in this particular huge problem with our neighbors, there's two different solutions that need to be in our argument. Or we're gonna go to a war with them, or we're gonna go to a peace agreement with them. And because of the extreme divide, it's just no solution. We'll stay like this, and we'll live our life like that. And it's very sad for me because we need how you call it, ofek.
Look into the future.
We want to look at the future, especially when we have children here. But it's about 50-50. 50-50 of our political
That is surprising. I would imagine living under such a common threat as always being under attack would cause people to be more strict with their decisions on how to deal with the Arabs in the Gaza situation.
Well, I have a few friends that will tell you, do you know what are my political ideals? Ask me when I under fire, and ask me when in peace days, it's different days.
Different days.
Of
I
course,
understand that.
The emotion will work here. But if you put the emotion on the side, and we'll talk about it in a normal day, it will be divided. 50% will go to the right wing, 50% will go to the left wing.
Well, we'll get off politics. I think people would like to hear that. But what's it like raising a family here? You know, you have a wife and kids, and smaller kids, older kids, you should be able to answer that question.
Well, I'm sorry, but I can't. This is the most hardest question that a parent here could be asked, because I have my ideals, and I will say that if I wouldn't feel safe in every particular place in Israel, I don't want to live in Israel. I mean, someone asked me in the past, why wouldn't you move? If I can't live here in the Otef, what
I
you call,
understand exactly what you're saying.
I don't want to live anywhere in Israel, not in Gush Dan, in the center of Israel. This is Israel, this is my country, and this is not, I'm not like a settler. It's the road and the Otef are in the green Kav HaYarok.
On our side of the green line, yes.
Outside of the green line, this is not the agreement here. And I think every citizen in every square in Israel need to be safe, have to feel safe. But still, nevertheless, we we meet the real life every day here. And I have 3 amazing little children, 7 years old, 5 years old, and 2.5 years old.
Must be because of the wife.
You don't know how much you write about it. True. Lucky them. And still, when they need to handle with it, it's not easy, because they have the frightened from this.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, though. When you're with your wife and in the evenings, when everything's calm and quiet like it is right now, I'm sure the conversations come up. What do you say to each other when you say, no, we decide to stay here?
Just the other day, I asked my boy, my older boy, 7 years old, does he like the life here? And he says, the greatest life here. Do you want to go to live in Yavne? My brother lives in the center of Israel in Yavne. No, he says. Do you want to go live in Tel Aviv? No, he says. This is the best life for me. And then I asked him, what about the red color alert? And
which is the alarms that sound off. It's called red color alert. Yes.
And he was like quiet for a long second and says, 7 years old, yeah? 7 years old. It's rough, but it's not all the time, and I love the life here.
Wow.
So for me as a parent, it's a relief.
Absolutely.
Okay. But if you want to really understand the living here, this is like a imaginary line that if you're gonna pass him, you lost the combat. And I mean, and I don't want to give my friends in the other side motivation to keep on fighting us, but as long as you can handle it, as long as you can put it on the side, you live a wonderful life. But if you always gonna be terrified, always gonna be frightened that it's gonna attack you, you cannot live a normal life like that. Not you, not your children.
Nobody, yes. And
it's enough that one of the member of the family will feel like this, and it's a deal breaker.
As we know, a family's a unit. Yeah. Well, what's the community like? What are the people like here? You talked about how they're split.
We've been in the military. It's like Yechidat Elite. It's like a commando of community. The community here is the first of all. Like everywhere in my country, but with a very unique sympathize for each other, because everyone that lives here will be not replaced as easily. So we want to keep our friends here, our community. We want to raise our children together. I will say it a little bit. I don't know how it's gonna sound, but when I see my neighbor grow his children here, no matter what, do you understand that I feel okay about it? I'm normal, okay? So it's okay. If you're gonna be alone here, something's wrong in my head. But we are big, huge community that helps each other, that support each other, that care about each other, and the ones that come here and can how you said להכיל,
to accept
the life here with the terror, could enjoy a paradise life. And so I think each one of the people, the families here are special.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you will be able to see how close we are to Gaza. This is, I mean, you're so close. How long does it take for the missile? When the alarms?
Nothing. They
By
say
the time you get an alarm going?
They say about 15 seconds, but it's 7 seconds.
7 seconds. You have an alarm. You have 7 seconds to get everyone, because people, who knows where at the house where everyone's at.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when the rockets are flying, what is that like? When all of a sudden you're sitting here in the evening with your family, your kids in the room, you and your wife are watching something, the news or something, and all of a sudden,
and it's happened. And you need to know that you gotta run to the bomb shelter, and your head walks like a surround. Where is my children?
Do you have like a system? Like I have this kids, you have that, you do this?
We have 2 bomb shelter in our house, so it depends in the situation.
Day
who's
or night.
Close to each other, but my older son knows how to run. We look for the smaller one, and in the second we are in the bomb shelter, it's only about hugging and tell him what's going on.
Yeah.
We are hearing alarm. We are hearing now the missiles. We are hearing the big, huge boom of the Iron Dome.
Iron Dome.
It's our missiles. It's a good sound. We are safe now. And after a while, you can continue your life. You know, after a while, my friend told me he saw 2 of his friends from the window, 2 of his children's, playing soccer. Suddenly alarms go on, they drop the ball and goes to the bomb shelter nearby, and after 20 seconds they go out and they continue playing like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? I don't know. It's a question.
Yeah, it's a definitely
because we're
question.
accepting it. So we're accepting it like day and night. But the real problem is not where in the house. The real problem is when you're outside. Can you imagine yourself how much time it's take to buckle up 3 children in the special chairs?
Yes, absolutely, in the car seats.
This is the most frightening situation.
Hey, Ola, what do you think it would be like living here, raising kids with these bomb shelters in the middle of the park and all over the city, when you hear the sirens coming out and all of a sudden have to run with your children to these bomb shelters?
I can't even imagine how they live, kids here. Think about it. You just go into the park or doing your regular stuff, buying groceries or doing stuff, and you have to stop everything, and people are panicking here. Even though they live here for many, many years and they kind of used to it, they're still panicking. People have anxiety attacks, and you run into this little shelter and you stay here for sometimes all day long because you have constantly falling rockets, rockets, right? So this say that in this shelter have a special system that it's locked right now, but when they have, they call it a red color. When you have alarm about missile coming, you pull it and it's open. It automatically opens. People go inside, sometimes 20, 30, 50 people all together and stay there.
Yeah, you can even see on the top where they have solar panels so that it always keeps its systems running.
Yeah.
So that you have always electricity inside. Probably have lights and everything else. Boy, that is definitely a different way than most of us people in the world know about raising kids in a situation like this.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you say to your kids? How do you explain to them? They hear the missiles coming. They know, like you said, they're missiles. You tell them about the Iron Dome. What do you tell them? Do you tell them the people who, I'm sure they ask, the people who are shooting, they're trying to kill you, they're trying to play games with you? What do you tell them? You
have great questions, Johan. You do have great questions. It depends on the age. My oldest one, 7 years old, he knows that we have a big agreement with our neighbors and they are feel angry about us, so they are start shooting us, and yes, they want to harm us. I don't use the words kill. But they
want to harm us. They want to hurt us.
But
that's
we
what you
need
tell
to be
a 4 or 5 year old child.
We had the privilege until the last conflict in May, when 5 years old in the bomb shelter died.
Yes, we talked about that.
2 of my friends goes with him to the kindergarten. Can you imagine what's going on with a 5 years old going to the kindergarten and doesn't find his friend a day after?
And then explanations.
And he lives here and he understands that he's safe, especially in the bomb shelter, and now he's understand that he's not safe, and now he's need to understand that harms means to kill.
Yes.
So this is a different level that most of the time we don't handle it.
Yeah.
Lucky us. But it's changed things. It changed things for each one of us. It's changed things.
Yeah.
I don't use the words killing, even though, and in the earliest phase, like 4 years old, 3 years old, I'm saying it's a truck. I'm saying it's a washing machine that dropped from the sky, so we need to be safe. You know, that kind of stories.
Yeah.
But 5 years old,
Tooth Fairy is falling down the steps.
Yes.
That kind of
Exactly.
That's the boom, boom, boom.
5 years old, they don't believe in the tooth fairy, and they know what is a terrorism, and they know what is Hamas, and they know what is.
So I think I hope you guys know. If you keep up with our YouTube channel, we talked about it in this last 11-day war we had with Gaza, where a 5-year-old child, what you was talking about, the missile went straight into their bomb shelter where they're supposed to be safe, and it killed their 5-year-old child. So I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. So. And your kid went to the kindergarten with him?
No, not my kid. My friend's kid in Sderot.
So after, I'm sure, sitting in a bomb shelter with your kids, you're explaining to them this is a safe place. And then now their friends died from in the bomb shelter. All of a sudden, the kids don't realize it's a safe place.
First of all, I didn't want to talk to them about it. I didn't tell them about this case about Ido, because. What will help?
Yeah.
It would put terror in the head of my children. We choose to live here, we choose to deal with it because we are very optimistic people here, and we are believing it will not stay here forever.
Right.
And we are believing that this is a paradise. My wife, she grew up here. Our parents, our grandparents grew up here. So we will not. And I was educated that you don't leave home, especially when it's come to terror action that will ask you to leave because of that.
Absolutely.
We stay here.
Oh, and I agree with the same.
I need to defend my children not only with bomb shelter. I need to defend my children also with explain them what's going on.
Absolutely.
And I'm staying here because I'm holding the thought that nevertheless. That is terrorist. This is missiles that are shooting on us. Things could happen all over Israel.
Absolutely.
Car accident will occur more in the central of Israel, and people will find their death in different kind of ways. So as long as it's only cause of fear, but. Yep. Not cases like Ido, we will keep our living here and think we can make great, happy life here.
What about the kids? Let's stay on the kids. I know it's a touchy subject.
Yes, it is.
But trauma, you know they're going to have some sort of trauma. Our kids, Mike Ola's and I's kids probably has trauma from all kinds of things, but everyone's different. What do you think, having 3 kids, what do you think their long-term trauma could or could not be?
This particular point keeping my mind busy a lot, and I'm having a restaurant as you told, and I Masik, the people that I work with them are 20 years old.
Your employees.
My employees are 20 years old up to 30 years old. Meaning living here
their whole life.
From 0 to 20, they have missiles on the head. So I interview them.
Yes.
And ask them how is to live like that, and I'm looking for the trauma. Hope not to find it, because if I won't find it, I mean it's meaning that I can raise my children without knowing that I'm growing up them with trauma.
Right.
But the truth is, the trauma exist, like almost everyone, but they are manage it.
Yes.
A lot of them, most of them, more than the average in Israel, go to the special units in the military.
Force, yeah.
They are not like shaking people that cannot live with noises and bombs and stuff like this. They cannot. They can handle.
They
can handle it,
yeah.
but still.
The tolerance
there is
level
a
to
trauma,
violence
there is
is high.
panics. One of my employee, when I don't know how to say it in English, like an rosta box that felt on the shelter makes a big boom. It's like this, terrified.
Yeah, metal box in the kitchen falls on the ground.
And one of them, I asked him, how was it to live here? And he told me, when I was 7 years old, my mother used to send me to the grocery store, and I used to follow after a grown-up. If he went left, I would go left after him, and if he go right, I would go right after him, until the point that the grocery store is in the right and he goes left. And he told me that he used to just frozen, doesn't know what to do, because if alarm would go on, he would do what the adult would do. And in this point that he doesn't have no adult to look at him, he was go frozen. And he was 7 years old. And it's very normal here in Israel, I don't know how it's in the state, to send your child to the grocery store 2 minutes walking from...
Yes, here it's very normal, yeah. America probably not so much.
Yeah, I know, but here it's extremely normal.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
nearby. You don't need to take a car to the grocery store.
I've mentioned it many times on the channel that Israel's probably, if not number one, close to number one, best country in the world probably to raise kids.
Yes.
The freedom we have with our children here, and
it's tremendous.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yes, it is.
And
well,
I understand that the trauma could meet my children, and as I told you, I defend them not only with the bomb shelter and not only with the Iron Dome. Always be attentive to them, always to see what's going on in their heart, in their
all their needs, even emotional and mental. Yeah,
you have to do that.
Yeah,
you have to do that.
Well, let's end up with one last tough question.
Oh,
okay.
If it's gonna be something optimistic, okay. Come on.
Well, let's try to see if you could take us through a day or the moments of you sitting in a bomb shelter here in your house with your kids. You know, the doors closed, the sirens going, the booms going off. Well, what's that like?
Well, you'll be surprised to know that it is not so bad, because at the moment we are inside of the bomb shelter, the panic goes off. We feel safe. We are telling them what's going on. But when we are outside, we are not in the bomb shelter. The panic of the children is in a very high level. So, in the times that we're in the bomb shelters, it's okay.
It's better.
It's better. I have to tell you that I'm telling lies to my daughter about driving in the car. We have a special kaftor button that put an electronic shield on us.
But
so
I think any
safe.
parent can understand that.
I know, I hope so, because when we need to go and my missiles go on and off, we need to find the time to get the courage, put the children in the car
and go.
Get as fast as we can.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Nir, thank you so much.
Thank you for this project, and
I love you, man.
I love you.
Thank you. I know it was difficult. I know it was difficult for you, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah, it is difficult for me, because if I would ask those questions that you ask me every day, honestly, I don't know if I could stay here forever. I need to ask them once in a while and put it in the side and move on in my life. Yeah,
for
sure.
I can understand that.
For sure.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And don't forget to join us on thegoldenreport.com. And until next week, God bless.
God bless.
Ja, dat wel.